Hi, this is Dr. MJ coming to you from beautiful Boston, Massachusetts. This is the Women in Dentistry podcast, where we feature women in dentistry making waves and leading the industry through the next decade. I am your host, Dr. Mary Jane Hanlon, a former dental assistant, dental hygienist, and now dentist. I am very pleased to introduce you today to Dr. Isabel Rambob. Dr. Rambob is the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs at the University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry, the President of the American Association of Women Dentists, and a career planning and leadership coach. She's also a certified digital marketing professional, certified mediator, and a prolific speaker who has lectured in the USA, Europe, Asia, and South America. Dr. Isabel Rambob received her DDS degree from the State University of Feira de Santana, Brazil. She completed a one-year program in advanced education and comprehensive dentistry at NYU College of Dentistry, then completed a one-year residency program in advanced education and general dentistry at Howard University College of Dentistry. Dr. Rambob moved to the University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry after 15 years at the University of Maryland School of Dentistry, where she served in numerous roles, including co-director of interprofessional education, vice president of the faculty senate, behavioral dentistry course director, and assistant director of advanced education and general dentistry residency program. Dr. Rambob is passionate about teaching, mentoring, coaching, collaborating, and volunteering. She's an avid knowledge seeker who believes that commitment to professional development is one key to professional success. It is now my pleasure to bring you to my interview with Dr. Rambob.
Isabel, I am so excited to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very demanding role, which I know you have, and several roles that you have, and you are taking the time to be with us. So thank you on behalf of the audience and myself and the team that behind me. We're thrilled to have you on the show today. So like I do with everyone else, if you could just start by telling us your story and how you got into the field of dentistry.
Thank you so much, MJ, for having me here.
My
part of the Women Dentistry podcast and build this great community supporting women dentistry, incentivizing, inspiring young generation to really consider career in dentistry. Mm-hmm. So I'm so passionate about talking about dentistry, engage with young folks and really tell them that it's such a great career to be considered. So I'm originally from Brazil, and in Brazil, we go to professional schools right after high school. So I was 17. I started my dental school training, and I graduated when I was 21. Then a year later, I started my practice, and I was practiced there for a couple of years. And then I decided I have this brilliant idea to sell everything and move to the United States. So this has been 20 plus years when I came here. I came to this country with $2,000 on my pocket and with a desire to make happen. And I am a big proponent of establishing goals. I think that when you have a vision, the direction where you want to go, the destination, so you can equip yourself to get there. So this is very important. And you can change gears, you can change goals, but it's just put you in the trajectory to move forward and really dictate your choices, people you need to meet, the skills, experiences, additional training perhaps. So it's very important to have a clear vision. And when I came to this country, I have three very clear goals in mind. I want to speak English fluently. I want to become a U.S. citizen, and I'd like to get my dental license. And all of that, I'm glad to report that I was able to accomplish.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And dental education, dental academia came sort of by chance. I didn't plan that originally. When my initial plan was, okay, I'm going to take my boards and I'm going to see what are the pathway for me to get a license. So my plan was to get my license and working in private practice. Then I was still in my residency program at Howard University. And this was February 2008. And I got this email. I met this professor from University of Maryland a couple years earlier. And she sent me an email. One of the professors here, he left, and would you like to have you in our team? You'd be interested to join our team. And I was like, wow, I'd love to, but it's February. I'm still in my residency program, and the program won't end until June. And she's like, we can wait for you. And I was like, what? The job is going to be waiting for me? I was like, wait a minute here. So I was like, that'll be fantastic. So once I complete my my AAGD program, because of the paperwork, making a long story short, I didn't start until February 2009. So they waited for me for a year.
Wow.
Yes. So I started University of Maryland 2009, February 2009, and I left in November 2023 to start a new position here at University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry. I'm the assistant dean for student affairs. I absolutely love my job. I really appreciate the opportunity to support the students. And because sometimes people think academic affairs is always about dealing with problems. Not necessarily. We also offer career planning, and we do career advising and help them with interviews and deciding if they go to residency program or private practice. So there is also not, oh, you're in trouble kind of thing. And support them. I'm a big proponent of incentivizing self-care, self-compassion, work-life balance. So I developed some programmings that we can support our students the best way we can. I think I summarized, and also I cannot be dismissive to not mention AAWD.
Yes, especially on this podcast.
Yes. So currently I'm the president of the American Association of Women Dentists. And my trajectory to the leadership in this organization was really unusual. Because typically you join the organization as a member and then you join the board. Perhaps you're going to be the secretary and president-elect or VP based on the organizational structure of that organization, then president, right?
Mm-hmm.
I jumped from member to the presidency. So,
wow.
Yes.
We had this conversation because I was past president of Massachusetts, and we actually had this conversation at our House of Delegates and set a couple of resolutions out this year because we had a couple people jump on the board and become vice president without even serving on the board. And to me, it's hard to do that because you don't know any background of the stories behind what's going on and how you can support the different initiatives that the organization is doing. So how did that go?
So the back then president called me and she asked me she's like, I want to put your name forward as president. I was like, wait a minute, president-elect? It's like, no, the next president. It's like, no. And she's like, you can do, we're going to support you. And I have a heart for service. If you ask me to do something,
you're going to do it.
Sometimes we overload ourselves. So yeah, I have to sort of learn how to say no. But I'm so passionate about supporting women dentistry, women dentists, and really support AAWD. And I was like, let's do it. I was like, put my name forward. Most likely I won't be elected. I was.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. But again, is put yourself in a trajectory. Although I didn't have institutional knowledge regarding AAWD, I had leadership positions that really equipped me to be able to lead the organization. Was a very steep learning curve, not being a member of the board, but it's doable. And I really have to thank my team. I have an incredible team, the board of directors, the executive director, and it's incredible that we work so well together and we really have a common goal to really strengthen the organization, to support women, and to make impact. And I know because we have more and more women join the profession, the relevance of AAWD has been questioned. It's not uncommon that it's like, it's still why we still have AAWD, then I bring to their attention that although we have a lot of women coming to the profession, we don't have as many in a position of leadership. And the needs of a woman dentist, they are different. The needs are different. So one of the goals of AAWD is to promote more women leaders in the profession, a platform for women to have a voice, to be a speaker, to have a leadership role. And so I believe that we still are very relevant. AAWD has been around for over 100 years, was founded in 1921. And I'm looking forward to the next 100 years.
That's awesome. What a great story. So one of the questions that I had for you is, where'd you go to dental school in this country?
So I got my DDS from Brazil. Then when I moved here, I did 1 year at NYU, and then I did a subsequent year at Howard.
Ah, very good. Very good. NYU is a good school. Big, but good.
Yes, it was an incredible experience. Both programs with different strengths, but it was really very complementary. And I really appreciate my training on both organizations.
That's great. Now, how was the move to Oklahoma from Maryland? I'm assuming, I mean, I've been to Baltimore, so I know the school is right in the center of downtown, and you're in the middle of this metropolitan area, and then you go to Oklahoma. So tell us a little bit
about that. Oklahoma City. So, and Oklahoma City is a little bigger than Baltimore. So Baltimore is 600,000, and here's 700,000. The metropolitan area is over 1 million people.
Oh, I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, so it's a mid-sized city, and every single person, if I lost count of how many people, it's like, how is the transition? I mean, it's a big difference. It's a drastic difference. And I was like, people, the biggest, the drastic, the hardest transition was moving from Brazil to the United States. Yeah. I had to reinvent myself. I had to relearn my profession in a different language. I was training Portuguese, so I had to learn dentistry in English, a new system, new culture. So moving to a different state when the United States is nothing.
You know what? I just had this conversation with somebody earlier. It's all about perception, right? So my perception was, okay, you've got Baltimore. It's a big city. It's near DC. So you get to go different places on the East Coast. And then you go to Oklahoma. There's no water, and you're in the middle of the country. And to me, it's
there are a lot of lakes. No ocean, but we have a lot of lakes.
We have a lot of lakes up in New Hampshire where I am too. I'm not on the ocean anymore. I used to be, and I miss it terribly because it's part of my soul. But I am near my grandchildren now in New Hampshire, and there's, I don't know, 7, 8 lakes in the area, and one of which is the biggest one is Winnipesaukee. So huge amounts of water around me, but just not an ocean with the salt air. So just different.
It's different. Absolutely. Because I grew up on a coastal city.
Did you?
So it was right on the coast. So yes, I'm really connected to the ocean. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about going back to your transition from Brazil to the United States. How was that for your parents? Were they, I'm sure they were so proud, but was it hard for them to let you go?
I'm so glad you asked this question, because a lot of my parents' friends would be like, "You're gonna let her move to the United States?" And my mother, since she was little, when she set her mind, nobody can change her mind. So they were very supportive. And a year later, my mother moved to Maryland as well, who is my little brother. I have just one brother, baby brother. And my father is still in Brazil. So they have been very supportive of my decisions. And it's hard. He's so far from my father. And now I'm not so close to my mother. So I try to call her very more often. And she was really upset that I was moving to Oklahoma City. But now she's sort of getting used to the idea that I'm no longer there in Maryland.
So she didn't want to come with you?
because she has her life there.
Yeah.
She's very engaged with her church and she does a lot of stuff. So she has her life there. So she's fine. And my brother is there as well. And I have cousins. So she's surrounded by friends and family. Not her
Right.
daughter.
That's great. I mean, it's always better when we have supportive parents, right, to encourage us to spread our wings and go forward in life. It's hard when they don't support you. So that's wonderful that you have some really supportive parents.
I do. I'm so blessed for my parents and how they never question my decisions.
Mhm.
And they're always there to support me. But they are not like very overprotective, which I appreciate that. My
Mm.
mother was like, I'm here to support you. Go, do your thing. If you need anything, I'm here. And really give me the resilience, the adaptability that has been so useful when I move around and I just can't fit in right away.
That's so great. All right, so I'm going to start with some questions if you don't mind.
Sure.
And my first question is, what is the one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
That I really enjoy cooking. For some
Huh?
reason, people think that I cannot cook because I love to go to, I like to go out and try different cuisines. So they think that I'm always out and about and I never really cook my own meals. So I do cook and I enjoy cooking. I think it's such a special thing when you have friends over and you prepare a meal for them. It is for me is very special. And same way when people invite you over their homes and they cook something for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I really enjoy doing. I have done skydiving and was
Very cool.
yes, and it was very exciting.
How was your
Um,
heart beating during all of that?
and it was sort of like wasn't planned. My brother and I, we just went to spend the weekend at the beach, and then we stopped to get breakfast, and we saw a flyer, and it's like, and he was joking, it's like, you want to do it? And he thought I would say no. It's like, let's do it. So we called the place, booked the next day, and then we were skydiving, and we didn't tell our mother because she would freak out. And it's like afterwards, like, why are you doing this? Both of my kids doing it at the same time.
Yeah, I probably would think that the same way too. Oh my gosh, you're going to die and I'm going to lose everybody all at the same time.
And one thing that surprised people sometimes because they hear that they learn I'm from Brazil, and some people think that we speak Spanish. So I don't speak Spanish. I speak Portuguese. Yeah.
Yes, I had a student who spoke Portuguese extensively, and he actually had all of the patients that came into the school from Brazil because he could speak their language. So it was a wonderful thing for him. He never had to worry about patients coming in.
But one thing that really, really surprised people when I mentioned to them, I used to be a very, very shy kid. It's like, you shy? Not in your past life. So I was a very shy, very timid child until I was like 13. And this is why I keep telling people it's the power of making decisions and embracing those decisions. So my mother is outgoing, she's an extrovert, and I was in awe that she would go to places and just, if you put her in a room with she haven't met anyone, by the end of the party, she'll know everybody.
Everybody there. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I didn't want the people to notice I was shy, so I was forcing myself to speak. And I sort of like it. And now I have a hard time not talking. So, yes.
So what do you think? One of my questions for you is, when you reflect back, were you confident as a young girl? And did that help you get into dental school or make your decision to go to dental school? And if not, how did you develop your confidence to get into school? So you just shared with us that you forced yourself to speak. Mm-hmm. So is that really what turned it around for you?
Yes, because I think a lot of things that prevent us to do different things and go to the next level is not getting the uncomfort. We want to be on the comfort zone. right? Then when I force myself to do something that wasn't really my nature, by nature, I'm an introvert, but people don't believe. And I adapt myself and I became an extrovert. So I can, same here, I can be put in a room, I don't know anyone, give me an hour, I connect with at least 20 people, right? And really have deep connections that I'll follow up. And it's not just like, hey, exchange cards and you're never going to see the person again.
Right.
So I'm very intentional about building relationships. And communication is so critical. The ability to communicate well in so many different ways. Because some people think it's just the verbal communication. Is the nonverbal. The way you present yourself, your posture, the selection of words. So it has to be very intentional to, particularly as professionals and as a woman and as a leader, because there is a lot of stereotypes. And as a foreigner, so with the accent, that is this implicit bias that because you have an accent, you might not be as intelligent. You didn't go to a US dental school, you might not be as qualified. Then I saw that as, okay, I'm going to prove you so wrong. So it was an incentive to do even better, to work harder, to not allow me to really not be prepared. I was over prepared. And it's like, because I didn't come all the way from Brazil not to be successful, not to do the right thing, and not really set myself short. And I see in a lot of women that we cannot talk about confidence without mentioning about the imposter syndrome.
Yep, absolutely.
It's so prevalent among women, to the point that I keep so informal conversations that someone is looking for a job and they're upset that they thought they did well, the interview went well, and they didn't get the job. And they like, do I have to go back to school? What kind of skills? What I have to do extra? And I look, because I know them, and I look at them and I ask, have you thought that perhaps you overqualify for the position? And they look at me like, what? I never thought about it. It's like, you didn't get the job. It's not because you were not good enough. You're too good. They didn't hire you because they're afraid you will not stay. And usually the approach women have when they're looking for a job, they think they have to check all the boxes. And they end up being overqualified. And I tell my female friends, if you look into a job and you feel too comfortable, it's not a job for you. You're overqualified. You have to feel, of course, you cannot be incompetent and you cannot be completely inexperienced in that particular role, but you have to feel a little bit like, can I really do this? Then you're in the right direction.
You know what? That is amazing advice, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. Women underestimate how good they can be at something, and they will never. I know they did research on this at some point. I read an article about it, but I don't remember what it was at this point. Women will only apply for things that they feel they're qualified for. Men they'll go over their head and say, I'll figure it out. Women have to do the same thing. They really do. They have to do the same thing. They have to look at it like, you know what? I don't know how to do it, but I'm just going to figure it out.
And then is a great segue, MJ, the importance of mentors. And I say mentors, plural, very intentionally, more than one, because different people are going to help in different ways, going to guide you in different ways.
Couldn't agree more.
So I came to this role as the assistant dean for student affairs. I was so comfortable because I have great mentors, and I know if I have any questions, I can reach out to them.
Sure.
And this is so reassuring. So I tell, and no matter which phase in your career, we all need mentors, from pre-dental to dental school, recent grad, mid-career, and close to retirement, because you need a mentor to help you how to retire well. So we all need mentors
Mhm.
and be mentors as well. So it goes both ways because I have mentors and I can be a mentor as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to go back to something that you said earlier, and I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
So you claim that you are an introvert and then you made yourself into an extrovert. What is your life like when you go home? Do you enjoy being by yourself? Do you enjoy just reading and doing things alone? Is that how you support yourself on that introvert side?
I love being around people, but I need my me time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go home, I just enjoy being by myself. I'm so used to do things on my own. So if I decide to do something, I just back up and go. And I know some people, they need to have someone, and it's fine. But I'm like, if I decide, you know what, I just want to go to London. I just go to London on my own.
Good for you. I love it. I love it. That is awesome.
Yes, but again, it's not right or wrong. It's nothing
Exactly.
wrong about being introvert or extrovert, but be truthful to who you are. Be comfortable and decide on what kind of skills that you're not your weaknesses and you want to work on, and what kind of a weakness is fine. It's fine to be as it is, and you're going to outsource, you're going to ask someone to do it, you're going to pay someone to do it. So you don't have to work on all your weaknesses. I felt that being a timid was a weakness, and I want to work on because I saw the power of being a good networker,
Mm-hmm.
being able to really communicate well with everybody, as having my mother as a role model, as a very strong woman, a determined woman that she would not wait for anybody, right? And I'm so grateful to have her influence in my life. And some people don't have that. Doesn't have to be someone very close, a family member, can be even someone that is not related, because nowadays with technology, you can connect with people anywhere in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And people, my experience, people are so gracious with their time. And talking about connect with people and networking, LinkedIn is a awesome platform for that. I have been connected with incredible people, and I know that our first interaction was on LinkedIn.
It was.
That,
It was.
yes, yes, and forward, we are here
Having a
doing a
conversation.
podcast.
It's a small world. No matter where you go, you will meet somebody if you put the effort in. And I think the right people come into our lives at the right time, and everything works out for the right reason. But I find it fascinating that that was our first interaction. I started following you on LinkedIn because I found your stories were engaging, and wow, this woman has really got it together. So kudos to you, because you have a presence out there that people know about.
Well, thank you. Coming from you, it's just like it made my day.
I'm not anybody just like you. I'm just me, and just going about doing my little role in this world. But I do think that when you have a presence like that and you can give back to the community, that's where your value shines. And that's what I saw you doing, is you always were giving back and making great posts and encouraging people. So I think that's one of the reasons why I was drawn to you. So kudos to you for doing all of that great work.
And it's incredible, MJ, since we talk about women dentistry, but actually women,
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible the impact of women in our lives.
Yeah,
And when you talk about giving back, it gives me so much joy in
it
giving
does.
back.
Mm-hmm.
And this I got from my maternal grandmother. She was such a generous person. And she used to live on a farm. And when I was little, I used to spend the summer vacation with her.
Mm-hmm.
She would never say no. If someone would come to the farm and ask for fruits and vegetables, and she loves roses, and she'll give flowers. And this really, as a young woman, that really sort of like, wow. So for me, I don't hesitate in helping people. And we give so much. When we give, I believe we receiving way more than what we're giving.
I
But if
totally
it's your
agree.
time, if it's your expertise, it's your skills, there is always a way to give back. Because sometimes people get so tied up in money. Oh, I cannot donate. Now my budget's tight. There is always a way to give. And sometimes
Absolutely.
there's way more precious things than money.
Than
I think
money.
sometimes time can be even more precious.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. What is the one piece of advice that you have been given that is the best piece of advice you ever got? Could be from a mentor, could be from anyone. So, any idea?
My mother,
Mhm.
since I was very little, she always said, do the best you can do. And go, and she always incentivized me to be brave, try, and it was okay to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Because as parents sometimes, because we want the best for our kids, and we want to educate them and discipline them. And so when they make mistakes, like, this is not the right thing to do. But the way, I mean, my mother is not a highly educated woman. She didn't get a chance to go to college. But the wisdom, right, to really support me, and I can confidentially credit her for my confidence, for her supporting me, believing me, no matter what.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Who in dentistry inspires you? Is there anybody that inspires you in the world of dentistry?
Oh, so many people. I can mention Dr. Linda Edgar, the currently ADA
A
president.
president. Yeah, she's wonderful.
I first met her last February. There was a meeting at the ADA headquarters, and I was representing AAWD. Since then, she has been nothing but supportive, very generous, and she embraced me with kindness. So I really appreciate her. And there are so many different people in different walk of lives that just friends, my friends. I'm sorry for incredible people. And recently I had a procedure, and I did here in Oklahoma. And quickly I had friends come and bring me food and
Oh,
drive me around. And it's just, I didn't have to ask. They're like, no, we're going to do it.
that's so wonderful.
Yes. And the ability to appreciate these small things in life. It's great to really aim for big things, but the everyday miracles is the small act of generosity, of kindness, that sometimes we get so busy that we don't appreciate. And we always focus on what didn't happen, what I didn't get. And we forget to really appreciate what I have
What you do have.
and what I
Exactly.
got.
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely. Do you have anybody in mind that has made the biggest impact on your life? It doesn't have to be in dentistry, but who's really made the biggest impact on your life? You think it's your mom?
I think based on our conversation, definitely.
She sounds like a force to be reckoned with. I'd love to meet her sometime. She does sound
Yeah.
like an amazing woman.
She is amazing. All my friends, they love my mother.
I had one of those too. I got to tell you, she was not educated either, but oh my gosh, everybody hung around at my house because they just loved my mom. And my mom was a great cook. So, I'm one of 6 children. So when she had a house full, the more the merrier. You could walk into my mother's house any day and be unannounced, and there'd be enough food for you. That's just how she was.
Same with my mother. She loves to cook, and she's a great cook.
Yeah.
And September is my birthday, and she's coming to Oklahoma City for my birthday. And she's like, I said, Mom, since you've come, you're going to cook for my, so let's have a small celebration, right? And I was like, but she doesn't like small. She likes to cook for like 100 people, I was like, Mom, no more than 50 people. So I just started going up with the list. I already have 65 people, and I'm not done. And I have been here just for 6 months.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's great. That's great. really, that's fabulous. You have just come in, settled in, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Which leads me to my next question. Have you ever had that aha moment that you are exactly where you're supposed to be?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Right now, here
Really?
in Oklahoma City.
Hmm.
I never thought in my life that I'll be in Oklahoma City. I never thought in my life when I graduated for dental school that I'll be here in the United States. So life will take you. So just don't limit yourself. Be open to opportunities. And when people ask you to do something, it's the universe saying that you can do it.
Absolutely.
So do it.
Mm-hmm.
Build a tribe around yourself that can support you. Be humble enough to seek help.
Mm-hmm.
Not be afraid to apologize. Change gears. And I have this dual mixed feelings about the phrase, don't give up. I think it's okay to give up, particularly for something better.
Mm-hmm. True. I have always found when things don't work out, it's God's way of saying I had something better in mind. So don't worry, it's coming, but I have something better in mind. So I never worry when things don't work out because I think it's always for the right reason.
And I haven't been in a better working place.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love my job. I love this school, my boss, my team, the whole dental school community. People have been so appreciative and respectful and welcoming. And I don't have words to describe how content I am in this.
Oh, isn't that fabulous?
Yes.
Good for you. Then you made the right choice. You're in the right place.
I have no doubts.
That's great. All right. So here's a tough question. Is there any obstacles that you have overcome in your life that you're really proud of?
Yes, it's the naysayers.
Mm-hmm.
When I first arrived to this country, and it's a journey as a foreign trained dentist to be able to get a US license.
Yeah.
And people try to say, oh, it's too hard, you cannot do it. Or have you considered going to dental hygiene program, which is a great profession, but it's not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I love being a dentist and I want to have my license and practice as a dentist. And then it's a struggle every day to keep your self-worth. So if I could just say two things to any woman out there, your sense of self-worth is so important.
Right.
And don't be afraid of rejection. If you cannot work on anything else, but just work on those two things to strengthen your sense of self-worth and not be afraid of rejection, because the fear of rejection prevents us to do so much.
Mm-hmm.
To reach out to someone, to invite them to be your mentors, to really apply for a job that you'd like to have, but you feel that you're not qualified because you don't want to be rejected. So what? What is the big deal? It's not a bruise on who you are. So we have to really reframe how we perceive rejection. I see as opportunity to reevaluate if something didn't go the way we planned or we expected. Perhaps is it really the right direction we are going? Or that was the right position for me. And that would be a good place for me.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like feeling bad and it's like, oh, I have to go back to school, I have to get another degree, and is something wrong with me? No, there is nothing wrong with you, but sometimes you have to realign your goals with your values and your calling. So the self-evaluation, self-awareness is so important.
I agree. I think too that we are really hard on ourselves. I mean, in fact, just before we started our podcast, I was like shuffling around here trying to get everything ready, and I wasn't ready. And you were so kind. And I was like embarrassed because I wasn't as ready as I usually am. But you were just so kind at it. And I do think we just have to give ourselves a break. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time.
And it's so funny, MJ, that you said you're not ready. I didn't see that way.
So see, it's all in perception, isn't it?
I just thought that we connect earlier, and I was able to just have this informal conversation as you're doing the setup. And then when was the time to start recording? We are ready.
Well, thank you, Isabel. You are just really a wonderful human being. I wish I was closer to Oklahoma so we could get together for a cup of coffee or have
You can
some.
always jump on a plane.
There you go. I could. So when you're having a tough day, and we all have them every once in a while, how do you stay positive and keep your emotions up? I think I'll just be frank. I observe in our conversation today that you probably do not get disheveled by anything. You probably stay very positive no matter what. Am I right?
I try. But a while back, and I cannot remember how many years ago, but I was already here in the United States, and was at the University of Maryland when I was working there. And I made a decision. Again, the power of decisions.
Power of decision. Mm-hmm.
Power of decisions. I decided that I will not have a bad day in my life. So be challenged, but it's not a bad day. It was a day with some challenge, extra work, some challenged people, circumstances. But I decided that I always will end my day on a positive note, no matter what happens. So if I had a tough day, I go out and treat myself with a nice meal. I go to my favorite restaurant. I call a friend. I have a glass of wine. I go to watch a movie. I'm going to just surround myself with beauty. I'm going to listen to my favorite songs. I'll drive when I was in Maryland to my mom's and eat her fabulous meal. So it's a decision you make that you cannot let people decide what kind of day you're having. So it's perspective taking, is really practicing seeing the positives. I'm not saying, oh, you're going to be Pollyanna, everything is great, people are beautiful. No, there are bad people out there. There are bad things. There are bad circumstances. But you made a decision that you're going to end your day on a positive note. So I like to surround myself with uplifting, inspirational quotes. So I have around here, I have some sayings around the office, in my house, that remind me to stay positive. Yes.
End your day on a positive note. I love that. I think that's great advice.
Yes.
All right. How about a guilty pleasure or a secret dream that you have? Is there something that you enjoy doing that, you want to share with us, or a secret dream that you have about the future and what you want to do?
Ooh, you have good questions, MJ. I'd like to have a private jet.
There you go.
Yes. I don't know if I'll be able to get it, but hey, it's on my list.
Right. So it's a fantasy, right? And fantasies are okay. And it drives us, right? You have a goal.
I'm sorry. So this is my dream, to have my own private jet. Yes.
Very good. Very good. How about a guilty pleasure?
If I decide to have it, for now it's just a dream. But if you're like, I'm going to have it, oh, it's happening.
There you go. There you go. Once you make a decision, you're going to make a decision, and that's it. That's good. How about a guilty pleasure?
Oh, chocolate.
Me too.
Absolutely.
The darker, the better, I think.
Yes. So definitely. And I think in life, everything is a balance. I try to really have healthy habits and eat healthy. Doesn't mean that once in a while you can indulge yourself.
That's correct. Now, do you have a personal mantra or motto that you live by? I mean, is there something that you say to yourself every single day that you live by religiously?
Yes, as a very analytical person, and I'm very systematic. I like things done in a sort of way. I have to repeat to myself, be kind is better than be right.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes
So
we get in an
good.
argument for the sake of argument to make a point to prove that you're right. And it's like, doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes it's just agree to disagree. So I saw this, I read somewhere and made a tremendous impact in my life. One book that I really like is The Four Agreements. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I was just talking about that earlier today too.
It's incredible how a book can make such a great impact in one's lives.
Yeah.
And just the fact that being impeccable with your word, don't take things personally.
Yeah.
Don't make assumptions,
Mm-hmm.
and always do your best.
Always
So
do
it's
your
something
best.
that I try to practice every day as well.
Yeah, it's a great, great book. So if anyone in the audience hasn't read it, it's The Four Agreements, and I can't remember who the author is.
Don Luis Miguel.
Yes. Very good. Very good. All right, last question, and I can't even believe that this
Already?
conversation has gone by so quickly. So, but I do have a final question for you. If you were a young person reflecting back on your life right now from where you are, if you're entering dentistry for the first time and you're really considering it as a career, what piece of advice would you give young women trying to enter the field?
Don't be afraid to try. Don't be discouraged if you don't get in the first time. I know a former student that took her 4 times to get into dental school. She was a class president. Now she owns 2 practices, very successful. And be open to opportunities. Don't limit yourself. And lastly, have mentors. Absolutely.
Now, you do some coaching, don't you, Isabel?
I do.
So tell the audience where they can find you. Obviously, academically, you don't want to have everybody emailing you at the school, but tell people where they can find you and a little bit about your coaching that you do.
Absolutely. So I'm very active on social media. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can check my website. It's Rambob Training. So we have some training programs and the coaching program, and really focus on interpersonal skills. Obviously, as dentists, we need to have the clinical skills, the technical skills, but we're dealing with human beings. So the ability to really communicate with our patients, to understand them, to show empathy, to build a rapport, to build a team, and really value the members of our team. So this is something that I really enjoy helping, and I focus particularly on women, but not only women, but most of my clients are women. So if you want to reach out, is dr.rambob@rambobtraining.com. So you can email me or reach out on social media.
I'll be sure to put all the information below the YouTube post so that people can just click the link. So thank you for sharing that. It has been my pleasure to have you on the podcast today, Isabel. You're an amazing woman, and I know that you have inspired somebody somewhere in this world today with your conversation and your advice. So thank you so much for being on the show.
And thank you so much for giving us this platform and bringing more women to your show.
Thank you.
And give me the opportunity to share my story. It was such a pleasure.
It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to the Women in Dentistry podcast with Dr. MJ Hanlon. If you like our show and want to know more about us, check out our website, thewomenindentistry.com, or please leave us a review on iTunes. Join us for our next episode as we bring you another amazing woman leading the way for the next generation.